Okay, first of all, I dug out the paperwork on the tractor and I bought it from my neighbor back in 1999. I didn't realize it was that far back. And it's a 1993 model, 12 horsepower. And this is the book on it. I got all the information and everything else, and engine manuals and everything else. Here's the wiring diagram. I'd rather read a schematic than to read something like this because these are a little difficult to read. But anyways, I'm going to study it. And according to here, there's some kind of a plug-in fuse. As I recall, I think there was, but it's buried underneath where the battery compartment is, way up underneath. So I'm going to try to get into that. Pay particular attention to this. I don't think this magnifying glass is going to help you, but there is a connector that looked like something came unplugged. Now, there was a lot of acorns and stuff, I guess from the mice or whatever that were in there, but they didn't damage anything. But there was nothing plugged into this connector, and I'm going to show you on the tractor itself. And I couldn't find a wire that was plugged in there. Apparently, there's a fuse in there. It shows you as number 15. And number 15 says fuse. It doesn't say what kind, but I venture to say it's probably a 10 or 15 amp fuse because the wire isn't all that heavy. And that wire goes to the solenoid, and it's a red wire. Now, I noticed that right away, so I think what happened was the fuse came out, but it's not on the ground anywhere, and I can't find it anywhere. So now I got to dig up a fuse and see if I can get it to go in there. With my eyesight, I can't get close enough to see the prongs on the, where the prongs go into the plug. So we're going to take a look at that now. But before we do, I'm going to see if I can find a fuse up here somewhere in the house. Well, if you noticed, this is the next day, by the way. You notice now that I don't have to pump up the tires because they go down flat very slowly. So the blocks are still loose, although there's a little more pressure on the blocks now. So the tires are losing air, especially this one, but not enough that I need to go and pump them up right now. I'm going to take out the blocks and we'll pull this tractor out. Okay. And I'm going to show you that plug in the back. Okay, right here. Here's the solenoid. Let's see with this battery wire in the way. Here's the solenoid right here. This, I noticed, something had come out of it. And I don't know whether it had acorns in here. You know, there's acorns down here. You know, from the mice, and acorn was stuck in here somehow. But I don't see any evidence of a fuse. As you can see, further up there, there's acorns. So, this is what I mean. It's very hard because I'm working with this in the way. Well, I had to go into my truck and have got a container of fuses, which of course fell apart. And this, I believe, is the type of fuse that probably went in there. Now, judging from that wire, that looks like about 22 gauge, maybe a 20 gauge wire. So it's not really all that heavy. That little red wire with this plug was on the end of that I showed you. So I'm going to venture to say that probably a 10 amp fuse will be more than enough. And all it is in the starting circuit that energizes the relay for the starter. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to attempt to plug one of these in there and see what happens. Okay, I'm going to need both hands to do this, of course, because I got the drop light down here. But this is where I'm going to use a 10 amp fuse because I got like 3 of them in the package. So I'm going to try a 10 amp fuse. You see how thin these wires are? These are probably no more than, I'm going to say they're probably 20 gauge wire, because all it does is energize the relay here. This wire here is from the seat. I temporarily, I had to cut it here, so I'm going to put a longer wire on here. And this is a seat adjustment here. I'm not planning on moving the seat back. I'm not going to grow any taller than I am, so I can just let the wire come up through here. And I'll just hardwire it here because this plug is broken here. So anyways, I'm going to plug this into here, and hopefully I can get it in to stay in. How the hell it ever came out, I don't know. And I'll get back on this video. Okay, I just plugged it in. She plugs in nice and tight all the way in. And there she is. What happened to the other fuse, I have no idea. I cleaned out with my hands, of course. I didn't brush it or blow it out. All those acorns that were in there. And so what I'm going to do now is run some tests on this starter, on this here, to see if this is a normal. I think this is a normally open switch. In other words, well, it's actually a normally closed switch right now, which would short out when no one's sitting on it. So it shorts out the ignition. Here's the ground here, and this goes to the engine and shorts out the magneto. So it's a safety switch. So we're not going to eliminate that. So right now, theoretically, this should start because we're not shorted out here. If we was to short this out, it'd be like this switch being turned on when the seat's not being used, and therefore would not permit the engine to fire. It would crank over, but it would not fire. Well, as I had mentioned in discussions about electronic videos and stuff, I don't have any test equipment here. I have this crappy old analog meter here, but it's good enough to show the continuity of here. I bought this at a yard sale years ago, and the old meter still works on it. As you can see, I'm just shorting it out here, just checking these, putting these pins together. So we're gonna cut this wire here so I can hardwire this onto here, and I'm going to show you whether it's a normal open switch and normal close. Different tractors, I think, use different functions. Some of them are a continuous circuit, and if the circuit is broke, the engine will stop. Other circuits are shorting type of circuit, and I think this is what this is. We're going to find out right now. So those of you who may have trouble with your seat switch here will know, and it varies with different brands of tractors, I believe. I've never owned anything but a Murray, so this is my first riding tractor I ever had. So let me just show you. We'll cut this off and put a meter on it. Now, we ain't got much here to strip. If I can get my, didn't quite get my wire strippers in there, so we'll use the diagonals. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my needle nose out because I don't want to put a strain on this when I pull it, because if I break it off inside, then I've ruined the whole damn thing. I could probably take this right off, but I'm going to try to put the wires on from here. This will take the strain off of. It's tough because I don't have very good eyesight, and I have to go gentle with it. There's one. I've stripped wires many times with dikes, in other words diagonals. We didn't quite get it. Alright, now what I'm going to do here is put the meter on here now. We're not connecting anything up here. We're going to put the meter on here and verify whether that's a normally closed or a normally open switch. Okay, unlike my workshop, I don't have anything to work with. I got one clip lead here. When I was in my shop, I had 30 or 40 of these damn things, but I only got one. So what we're going to do, we just pick one wire here. Alright. And we'll connect it to one of the ohm meter leads. Alright. And we'll have to hold the other one and work the seat switch. Alright, in order for you to see the meter, I gotta relocate the camera angle here. I don't know if you can see the meter with this camera or not, but okay. Right now the meter is it's a normally closed switch. Now I'm going to try to push on the switch here. Alright, I'm pushing on it like as if you're sitting on the seat. You see it goes. Alright. All the way over it's shorted out. 0 ohms. This being infinity here. Okay, now you push on the seat bracket here. Alright, now the switch is open. Okay, get a little closer view here so you can see both my hands and the meter. Okay, meter's at infinity right now. Alright, now it's a normally closed switch, so when you push on this, like you're sitting on it, it goes to infinity. In other words, it's an open circuit now and the engine's allowed to run. If you were to get off the seat, I just took my hands off of this damn thing. The switch is intermittent. Alright, you're sitting on the seat, you're off the seat. You're sitting on the seat, you're off the seat. So if you're off the seat, the switch is shorted, just as if you were putting the ohm meter leads together. In other words, you got basically a short circuit. So that's what we're reading here, is a short circuit right now. In other words, this is a normally closed switch. As you can see, I taped this up. Now you're probably wondering why I'm using red tapes. I just happen to have red electrical tape. So I grabbed the first thing I could get. And there's a piece of tape over here against the metal, just in case this does, you know, chafe and rub on here. So I got a piece on the edge here. So there she is. We're all ready to put the battery in and give her a test. Well, I ran a load test on the battery and she's no good. She's over 6 years old. Matter of fact, it might even be older than that, because I bought the tractor in 1999 and I had to buy a battery shortly thereafter. So I'm going to jump it. I'm charging up my portable jumper now, and I'm going to jump it. But she does crank over, and that's probably why the Bendix won't kick in all the way. But I have had trouble with the Bendix, and I did spray it with WD-40. So we're going to have to come back on this in a few hours after my charger, battery jumper charges up, and we'll put a jumper on it. Well, it's not charged up fully, so hopefully it'll be enough. And I got to replace the gas hose too, going to the carburetor, because it's dripping gas, so I put some gas in it. I'm going to have to hold down on the seat because I can't sit on the seat. I just want to see if she'll start at all. my little jumper here, she's reading half charge right now, so I gotta really let this stay plugged in overnight. It's pretty old. I've had that for quite a few years. Anyways, down here I've got a dripping gas line right here. So those spring clamps ain't no damn good, but I gotta change the hose anyways. That's not a big deal. What's the big deal is the damn price of gas in Connecticut's $4 a gallon or more. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.